Yay!
And a quick start today.
I know. Super fast.
Oh,
Ugh.
I'm sleepy today.
I'm sleepy, but not sleepy
I'm
at the
going to
same
try my
time.
best.
Okay, here we go.
I have my coffee, and we'll see where things take us.
I feel like this is job number 3.
Job number 3.
Yeah.
Kinda is for you, huh?
Kind of is for me. This is job number 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
A working girl.
yep. Always busy. My feet's hurt.
I am so sorry to hear that.
It's a good hurt, though. It's a good hurt.
I know, you're not used to standing on your feet all day anymore, are you?
No. But I get to stand on my feet all day doing fun stuff.
Watching camels. Telling people what an awesome animal camels are.
Yes. Getting people to realize camels are awesome. Give them a chance. They're great. Yes, a job I love. Absolutely.
Job she loves very much. She loves 2 of her 3 jobs.
I love 2 of my 3 jobs. Right. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And, won't say which 2, but people could probably figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sure people could probably figure out which ones I like and which ones are less than desirable.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first job was at a zoo, Gatorland.
Ooh, Gatorland. I've heard of that before.
I've heard of Gatorland before too.
It's like
yeah.
a well-known place.
Yeah, it's a pretty famous place down in Florida. I think my boss took her kids there the last time she went down to Florida.
Yeah. Can't you get your picture taken with like the baby alligators when you're there? Because I think one of my friends went down there because he got to hold the baby alligator and stuff and get his picture taken.
Yeah, I think they do all that stuff with the babies. Ah, Ada, all excited for more All the Young Dudes.
Hello.
It has been a minute. Oh, shoot. I just took a screenshot on accident. That was stupid.
I know. I feel like we had issues the one week and it kind of just threw off our whole rhythm. And we're getting back into it.
We are. We've got to finish it.
We are getting close.
We are
you
getting.
might not think it because there's so much, but we are getting close.
Yeah, we are. We're getting there. Let's see. I'm gonna look right now and see where we're at. How many?
Oh, okay. It is the place. See, Ren did it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Snakes and gators. Yes. I do photo ops with joeys.
Yeah, you get to hold kangaroos all day.
I do. I get to do the kangaroo joeys all day. Why would you say that? That's awful.
Think of the crazy fan fictions that would be out there if there was no closure.
Crazy fan fictions out there.
Now imagine if no one had closure and there was no, like, ending.
Oh, God, and the theories.
There was no closure to what is allowed and what is not allowed.
Neville would be called, like, a time-traveling fetus or something. McGonagall is a mermaid.
Oh, hi, Angela.
Hi, Angela.
Yeah, well, Dumbledore would probably be the mermaid.
Yeah,
that's why he knows
fair.
how to speak Mermish.
Fair enough.
Honestly, it would be very interesting. I kind of want to explore that universe if J.K. never finished the books and just left it open for the fans to decide.
There would be so many people saying that Harry and Draco end up together. Hello.
Hello. I'm in a lot of fandoms. LOL. I'm in a lot of fandoms too.
Me too. Tons of Dumbledore is still alive theories.
Right?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
Fox is gonna lay an egg and it's gonna be a baby Dumbledore in there and he's gonna grow up. You know there would have been something like
Yeah,
that.
there probably would have. I've been listening to Order of the Phoenix. Honestly, your enthusiasm sold me. It had been a least favorite. For shame. Yes! Converted! Order of the Phoenix is actually really, really good.
I thought it was good. There was just some things in that book annoyed me. That's all.
Well, some things in that book are supposed to annoy you.
Do a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Umbrage.
Umbrage. I'll take umbrage with umbrage.
No.
Yes and no. I think the story really starts to take off with 4.
Yeah. Well, I think it's at the end of 4.
Yeah, the end of 4 is when it really kicks off.
So technically,
yeah, I guess technically
it
5
is Order of the Phoenix, because you have to wait the entire book before anything really happens.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
last 5 yeah, she's right. Andres is right. Last 5 chapters or so of 4 is just like, oh, oh.
That's when stuff hits the fan, but we don't get to see the wall behind it until Order of the Phoenix.
That's right. And that we waited a long time for that book.
You did?
That was the book we waited the longest for.
2 years.
It was a long time.
Yeah, okay.
But we got it.
Potter fan problems.
Fair enough. As I sit here with my House of the Dragon regalia here.
I know, we'll have to check
Targaryen representation.
Trailer.
We do have to check out that trailer. Nobody talk about the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, we have to watch it.
It's really the only thing Game of Thrones fans have to look forward to right now, because books are out of the question.
Right. Give us something. Let us have this show. Let the show be good. Because we got no book. So we need let House of the Dragon be good. Thank you. I had time to do my hair today, so it was good.
Yes.
Yes.
So, last time on All the Young Dudes, speaking of fan fictions, far out there fan fictions, because if anyone does want to know the true story of Remus Lupin, it is on Pottermore, because I read it. One of the characters.
Did you like it?
Yes. A lot of the stuff that happens obviously makes more sense. Remus, spoiler, does not have a relationship with Sirius. That is told, at least. But, there's a little less struggle for Remus, I guess. I won't spoil it or anything, but it's different.
Yeah, I read it too, but I read it quite a long time ago.
Remus doesn't have quite as hard of a life as is shown in this fanfic.
Yeah, his life is a struggle in this story, isn't it? It's a struggle for poor Mr. Lupin. Last time it was Remus's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And he got really drunk.
As one does.
And basically told Sirius that he's done doing what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He put his foot down. No more playing games.
Right.
It either is or isn't.
Yep, it is or
Your
it isn't.
choice.
And Sirius says, screw my girlfriend or whatever. And Remus says, yeah, that's the problem. You are.
Yeah.
And so that was that. He ended it, I think, and then passed out.
Yeah, I think that was about it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm yawning.
And I'm the one who's tired.
I know, I don't really feel I can tell Looking at myself, though, I'm a little bit sunburned from today.
Oh, by the stream on Saturday, you're going to be a crisp golden brown.
Yep. No, I'll be inside Saturday and Sunday.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing then?
Hanging out with the burbs.
Oh, nice. Have them screeching in your ear all day.
They're little burbs.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They're not very
the loud
big. They're
ones.
not the big, loud burbs.
Either way, should we jump in?
Why not? Shall we? Shall we just start reading some All the Young Dudes?
The dudes who are young.
Chapter 111. 6th year. Separation. This chapter has spoilers for the reading of The Charioteer by Mary Renault, which I've recommended in a previous chapter.
Okay, well now we know.
That's just the notes from the author.
I can't listen to this. I have to step away. It was on my reading list.
Remus woke up the next morning with a hangover and an enormous sense of relief. He'd had to be drunk to do it, but it was done. No more jealousy, no more worrying, no more anxious questioning. The key now, he decided, was maintaining a distance and building barriers. By the time he'd finished his shower on the morning of his 17th birthday, Remus had a plan of action. He would close the door on whatever his relationship with Sirius had been. It was fine to look upon Christmas as a fond memory, or to feel a little bit lonelier, a little less whole, but this was entirely necessary for both his health and his sanity. Sirius was not the whole world, as much as he might seem it sometimes. Remus had demonstrated this almost immediately. Upon exiting the bathroom, he bumped into James, who looked as though he hadn't touched a drop of liquor the night before, despite having had just as much as everyone else. That infuriating Potter good fortune apparently applied to hangovers, too. "Morning, Mooney," he grinned, rosy-cheeked in his Quidditch robes. Today was not a practice day, but why would that stop James? He raised his broom. "Fancy a spin around the pitch?" This was an old joke. He always asked, and Remus always pulled a face. Remus glanced at the two made beds, and the two with the curtains still closed were, presumably, Peter and Sirius still fast asleep. "Yeah," Remus said. "Go on, then." "Huh?" James stopped in his tracks. Remus nodded casually. "I'll go with you. I ought to get better at flying. Might be useful when we finish school. I've got your old broom somewhere. Let me dig it out." Credit to James. After his initial surprise, he was all for the idea, and even held his tongue when he saw the state of Remus's dusty, neglected broomstick. He simply offered to polish it, then led Remus down to the Quidditch pitch, jabbering about simple basic exercises to get your confidence up. And it wasn't awful. James was a very patient teacher, and Remus felt in safe hands. The bespectacled boy didn't even laugh after the third time he fell off. Afterwards, a very wholesome feeling, walking back to breakfast, hungry and aching and full of energy. This first experiment had gone so well, in fact, that Remus decided he would say yes to anything his friends asked of him from now on. In this way, he could keep himself busy until Sirius went back to being whatever he'd been before. At breakfast, they were greeted by a row of red-eyed, sickly-faced Gryffindors, all leaning sleepily on their elbows, Mary and Marlene sitting back to back, propping each other up. "Christ!" Mary squinted at James and Remus. "You've not been exercising? Bloody lunatics." "You went, Mooney?" Sirius looked up, wincing and rubbing his apparently sore neck. Remus just gave him a small shrug, then looked away. Sirius didn't try to talk to him again. They were halfway through the meal, Remus as usual eating half his body weight in fried bacon, eggs, baked beans. Fried bread, bacon, eggs, and beans. Jesus Christ. Fried bread, eggs, baked beans, and bacon. Everyone else picking at their own plate with faintly nauseous expressions, or else nursing a large mug of black coffee, when Lily straightened up, eyes wide as suddenly as if electrified. "Oh, shit!" she said, then kicked James under the table. "Potter!" she hissed. "We never gave Remus his present!" James smirked at her and Remus raised an eyebrow. You and James got me a present? Together? We all did, James laughed. And there's no need to beat me up, Evans. I've got it right here. He withdrew a brown leather box from his robes. It was about the size of his hand, smooth and expensive looking, with a gold embossed border. It looked like the sort of things girls kept their pricier jewellery in. You all. Remus accepted the box curiously. I hope you didn't spend too much. You know I can't... Oh, shut your face, Mooney, Peter yawned, prodding his porridge dazedly. We had a whip round for you. Almost everyone in Gryffindor wanted to put in. Not just Gryffindor either, Marlene grinned. Nearly everyone asked, even some teachers. Remus was just looking down at the box, because he knew he'd probably gone red. Some hot, sickly bubble of emotion was burning his throat, so he swallowed hard, which didn't help. Open it, Remus, he heard Lily's voice. He pried it apart, and the box sprang open in a pleasing, neat motion. The interior was midnight blue velvet, and nestled among the folds was the most beautiful piece of treasure Remus had ever seen. It was a golden pocket watch on a long, fine chain, polished to a high shine so that it was practically glowing. The case was decorated with intricate vine-like swirls and patterns, surrounding a shield at the center which had been engraved in elaborate script with his initials, R.J.L. He snapped it open with the lightest touch and saw inside that the clock face was mother of pearl and shimmered gorgeously beneath the golden hands which ticked away reassuringly. The other half seemed to contain a compass. I didn't think these worked at Hogwarts, he murmured. It's special, Mary said eagerly. It doesn't point north or whatever normal ones do. If you say the name of somebody you love, it points in their direction. Try it out, Mooney, James encouraged. Remus looked up at his friends nervously, then raised the watch to his mouth and whispered, Lily Evans. At once the needle spun into place, pointing directly across the table. Lily grinned bashfully. James kicked him under the table. Bloody ladies' man. You're all amazing, Remus said, hoping he didn't sound too choked up. Bloody amazing. For the first week, Remus's new regime seemed pretty effective. It certainly kept him busy. He said yes to everything, happily dropping whatever he was doing at a moment's notice to help a younger student with their homework or call a group study session with the Care of Magical Creatures NEWT's class panicked over sphinxes. He accompanied Lily on patrols, he discussed literature with Chris, talked Quidditch tactics with Marlene, and played endless games of chess with Peter, and lost every time. He was the angel of Gryffindor Tower. Because Sirius was not the only thing Remus was ignoring. The old shoebox Dumbledore had given him sat under his bed still, gathering dust and unopened, as if it had been there for many years, perhaps on some shelf in Matron's office. Why was it a shoebox? Remus wondered, as he tossed and turned in his bed every night. Something so mundane, so everyday. It made whatever was inside seem all the more terrifying. Trust Matron to be so heartlessly practical. It wasn't even a good shoebox like Clark's or Johnson's. It was an economy brand, like everything else he'd ever received at St. Edmund's. The box might have contained any number of things, and it wasn't that Remus wasn't curious. It wasn't as if he didn't try to imagine what was in there. Deeds to a house that he could go and live in. That would be pretty brilliant. Maybe some old money, photographs, a letter from his father, an explanation. It might contain answers to questions he didn't even know to ask. But he didn't open it. He knew that once he opened the box, all the mystery would disappear, and he would be left with something disappointing, because there could be nothing inside that could truly satisfy him. So keeping busy helped, making sure he exhausted himself each day so that he fell straight to sleep each night, even when the other boys stayed up chatting, plotting pranks. But Sirius himself helped too. By some incredible twist of fate, he appeared to be giving Remus space. If Sirius remembered Remus's harsh words from the night of the party, then he didn't mention it. But he didn't try to get him alone or treat him with any kind of resentment or disdain. Remus surmised that Sirius had either 1. Been too drunk to take anything in, or 2. Taken Remus at his word and chosen to back away quietly. For Remus, with exams on the horizon, option 2 was by far the most preferable, so he decided to believe it. Their separation was so smooth and so complete that soon even Remus had a hard time believing they'd ever been close at all. Surely to everyone else it would seem that nothing had changed at all. Sirius was still Sirius, outgoing, girl-loving, cheeky, rebellious, devastating. And Remus was just Remus, quiet, private, studious and long-suffering secondary marauder. As March drew to a close, the birthday party now weeks behind them, there was only one moment when the situation very nearly came to a head, but was quickly deflated with the help from an unexpected quarter. It was late one Friday afternoon, and Remus was hosting an introductory dueling workshop. Christopher was there. Christopher was never far away these days, but most of the class were beginners and much younger. They were grasping for some basic disarming and diversionary spells when the door to the charms room classroom opened, but no one walked in. Everyone turned to look and muttered, "Peeves," before returning to their attack stances. Remus knew better. He followed the scent about the room and watched the door open to Flitwick's office. Watched the open door of Flitwick's office move only very slightly, as if someone had brushed the handle on their way inside. Flitwick trusted Remus and left his office open in case they needed any equipment from inside. He kept a number of large mattresses which were good for dueling, as well as an emergency healing kit in there. Remus cleared his throat. "That's good. Keep practicing. Remember to enunciate nice and loudly for me. I'll be right back." He slipped round the edges of the room as he said this, then slipped inside the office. "Sirius," Remus hissed. "Get out. This isn't—" "I'm just hiding from Filch. Have a heart, Mooney." Sirius whipped back the invisibility cloak, a familiar grin on his face, the sort of grin that usually got him whatever he liked. Remus bristled. "You've got the cloak. Hide somewhere else. I'm nearly finished in here anyway. I'll be leaving in a minute." "Well, then it's no big deal, is it? I'll just stay till they're all done. Might even learn something." "Remus, are you okay in there?" A tap at the door. Christopher. "Yeah, sorry." Remus gave Sirius one last furious glance before stepping out. Sirius grinned and vanished again. Remus left the door open, and he knew Sirius had got bored and left. He knew that Sirius had got bored and left the office. Remus pictured him leaning casually against the wall, observing with a wry smile. Remus carried on teaching as best he could, trying to ignore the distraction. He felt horribly exposed being watched like that, knowing Sirius was so near. When class finally finished, Remus ushered them all out, saying the room was needed for something else. Everyone left, chattering excitedly about the weekend ahead. Everyone except Christopher. "I'll help you clear up," he said eagerly as the last few students filtered out, shouting their goodbyes to Remus as they went. Christopher and Remus made short work of rearranging the charms classroom, restoring it to its usual orderliness. He could feel Sirius watching them the whole time, the hairs on the back of his neck standing up. "Did you read that book?" Christopher asked. "The Charioteer?" Remus winced but nodded. "Yeah, it was good." It had been good. Hard to read at points, worryingly relatable, but something of a relief too. "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so glad you liked it," Christopher said. Remus could imagine Sirius pulling a face at Chris getting so excited over a book. "What about the ending?" "Oh, yeah, it was good. I liked it." "Really?" Christopher wrinkled his nose. "I didn't. I wish Laurie had picked Andrew, don't you?" Of course Christopher identified with Andrew, sweet and bookish and chaste. "I liked Ralph," Remus shrugged. "Even if he wasn't perfect, he was more, I don't know, exciting?" Remus had thought Ralph sounded really fucking sexy actually, but he'd been picturing Sirius the whole time, which may have had a lot to do with it. He dearly hoped that if Sirius was eavesdropping, and of course he was Sirius after all, that he didn't understand a word Christopher was saying. "I thought you'd like him best," Christopher said with a note of sadness. He was standing next to Remus now, his satchel over one shoulder, ready to go. "Just go," Remus begged inwardly. "He reminded me a bit of your friend, Sirius Black." "Oh?" That got his attention, and Sirius's too. Remus could practically feel him straighten up. Remus just, "Yeah, Christopher smiled coyly. Sorry, but it's pretty obvious you've got a bit of a thing for him. Remus just blinked, struck dumb. Christopher laughed softly. It's a waste of time, Remus, can't you see that? Yeah, he's beautiful and everything, but he's clearly girl-mad. You ought to... I mean, you deserve someone who cares about you as much as you care about them. Christopher, I don't... Christopher cut him off with a kiss. He just reached up and kissed Remus as if it were that easy. Remus's first instinct was to push him away. This was nothing like what he'd wanted. Fortunately, it was only the briefest brush of a kiss. Oh, Chris, Remus breathed. You're such a good mate, and... Oh, shit. He should not have said mate. Mate was the worst possible word. He could practically see Christopher's heart break, but only for a moment, before that pure blood stiff upper lip took over. He shook his head, stepped back. It's fine. Honestly. I'd rather be friends than not, if that's all we can be. Remus ached. Come on, Christopher smiled as if nothing had happened. It's steak and kidney pie tonight, your favourite. They left the classroom, just the two of them, and Remus quietly closed the door behind him to avoid suspicion.
Friend zoned.
Really hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're a
and he
good
even
mate.
knows his favorite pie.
I know. Just
That's
like
right.
the steak and kidney pie that Creature made for Harry, Ron, and Hermione. But they were never going to eat it.
They never. It's probably delicious too.
Probably was.
Although Creature might have been kind of out of practice. Who knows?
I don't know. He cooked for them for a while before they got
Oh
kicked
yeah, that's
out.
true. That's true. I forgot. Remus says it's weird that he just leaned in and kissed him, but that's how him and Sirius happened. I mean, they were drunk at the time, but still.
I think it's because it's not serious.
Yeah.
That's why it's weird. Because Lupin cannot expand his horizons beyond anyone other than Sirius.
Yeah, pretty much.
He can't even give anyone else a chance.
Chris is trying to show him.
Right.
You got options.
Right. Why not give it a shot for a little while? What's the big deal?
I mean, he gave it a shot with, who was it?
Grant?
No, Mary or Marlene, one of the M's.
Mary.
Yeah.
The oil slick?
Yeah. The warm oil slick.
Yeah. Hey, that's cool. I don't share a specific birthday with any character, but Sirius and I share a birthday month.
I don't share a birthday with anyone. But my birthday's coming up soon, so that's cool.
That's true.
So have you ever heard of James Potter by G. Norman?
Nope.
I don't know.
I think
Well, no,
I think someone
Mentioned it.
mentioned it
suggested
to us before. Yeah. But I've never read it.
Well, definitely worth checking out sometime.
I guess so.
I didn't realize there was a James Potter series. Tonks' birthday, when is that? That's September, right? It's fall.
I don't
May
know.
11th? Oh, okay. Hey, almost Tonks' birthday.
Almost.
I'm almost there.
Almost there.
And hey, cheers for the May babies. I know Dan, actually, his birthday's coming up too.
Oh, yeah,
a lot
that's
of
right.
people's birthdays around the same time.
Oh, look at this foot. Look at this foot, Worm. This is a nice foot. Sorry.
Yeah, Tom. So All the Young Dudes is actually fan fiction, an extremely long fan fiction about the Marauders. And in this situation of the fan fiction, Lupin and Sirius develop a relationship that is not canon.
No, it is
But
not canon. Not even close.
the main magic and physics of everything remains within canon. That's about the only thing that changes. And Lupin's upbringing.
Yeah. That's all different.
But everything that we know about the Marauders that transpired from the Harry Potter series does take place. Yeah, and they got Remus a very nice birthday gift.
Yes, they did.
All I can think of, though, when I saw that is that's Jack Sparrow's compass.
Maybe that's where the author got the idea from.
I think so.
I think.
We're getting a little Pirates of the Caribbean here.
Are we gonna have a character that's gonna be like, why is the Fire whiskey always gone?
See a crossover where the one pirate who has the wooden eye finds Moody's eye.
Ah, yeah. Oh man, I used to know their names, but I know who you're talking about.
They're great.
I
love those two.
They're fantastic. I saw a meme with the two of them one time, and it was what have you got there? The Silmarillion. But you can't read. You get credit for trying.
Is that why you're reading it? Just for the credit?
No, I'm reading it because it's good, and I like it. And I've always wanted to.
I need to reread the Lord of the Rings books first.
Well, that's why I'm reading the Silmarillion first, because I want to read the Silmarillion and then go back through and read Lord of the Rings and understand all the references.
Oh, okay, I got you. See, I'm like, I want to read the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit again, so I can go through the Silmarillion and read it and be like, oh, that's why this happened. Oh, there's this. We're going for the same thing. I just like to do it in reverse order.
Apparently.
Right now, my book list is trying to finish up the series that I started and never finished.
I'm just trying to finish the Silmarillion, and then I will make a decision after that. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll read some nonfiction. I don't know.
It's never a bad idea.
I got a book on Komodo dragon conservation that has been sitting for a while. Have you guys experienced the joy of what? I don't know.
Oh, Jack Sparrow versus Voldemort, who would win? I want to say Voldemort, but Jack Sparrow just seems to always win, no matter what.
I think I'm gonna go with Voldemort on this one. Avada Kedavra. There it is. He's dead.
Yeah, but Jack Sparrow, something always happens. He's gonna be like, no, wait. And say some crazy stuff, do some hand movements, and just, I don't know, a buoy's gonna fall over and just knock Voldemort out.
Buoy?
Yeah, I don't know.
There is some chemistry between the two of us because we are together.
It's not just the Harry Potter.
No, it's not just...
Yes.
Yes, we do. Wand versus sword. Wand.
I don't know. I think Jack Sparrow.
Wingardium Leviosa. Boom. Wand.
Look, Jack Sparrow should
Avada
have died
Kedavra.
like 1,000,001
Wand.
times.
Yeah, but nobody had a
doesn't.
wand. No one had magic.
Yeah, there was magic.
Yeah, but not the same kind of
He
magic.
fought a goddess. And won.
Which movie was that?
Dead Man's Chest.
Which one's that?
With
5?
Davy Jones. The second one where they're in the big maelstrom.
I thought that was the third one. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it is.
You just
I
said it
think-
was the second one.
No, I said it was the one with Davy Jones.
That's the second one.
No, it's 2 parts though. Davy Jones is in the 3rd one too.
Well, I know he is, but I thought you meant the second one, like that's when he shows up.
No, 3rd.
Oh my god.
When
I didn't
then-
see the 5th one, so that's why I'm asking.
Oh, I've actually seen them all.
I only saw the first 4.
5th one was eh.
Well, after Blackbeard died, I was like, well, there goes a character I was kind of interested in, and now I have no interest in this anymore.
Blackbeard was weird.
I loved it. I loved him.
He's so weird.
He was great. I loved the burning stuff in his...
Oh, he looked awesome. It's just...
It's based on he's a real pirate. He's a real dude.
Yeah, I know. He did that too.
I
That
know,
was, like,
I
a real
know.
thing where he like lit his beard on fire.
I know. He's a wild dude.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Harry Potter Studios in Watford. Best 40 quid I ever spent. And yes, I bought a wand. I'm
Nice.
30. I will buy a wand.
I'm not 30 yet, but it's creeping up.
I'm 30 and I will do all of the things at Harry Potter. Everywhere. I will do all of the things.
We're saying if we go to Universal Studios and we go to the Harry Potter world, the Diagon Alley, we were gonna dress up.
Yep. I'll dress up. You guys tell me what character you think I should be.
What someone said, Umbridge, and just go around like correcting everyone.
Do you have a permit for that wand?
It would be hilarious.
I'm sorry, but according to Educational Decree number 27, you cannot have gatherings of 3 or more students at a time. I'm going to need to ask you to please split up.
I feel
I
like
wonder if I'd get in trouble for doing that to people at Universal
I was gonna say,
Studios.
I feel like most people would probably be like, just kind of laugh it off and be like, that's great. But there's going to be that one person that's like, excuse me, leave us alone, lady. Freak.
I got confused when I found out Voldemort's half-blood and all his Death Eaters are pure blood. And I don't think it's confusing. I think it's literally Hitler. It's literally
Yeah.
Hitler. Ren is 60. He has a wand. Or she has a wand.
I need to get a wand again because mine broke.
Well, we don't have our wands. We just...
No.
I have
Yeah, I have to get my wand, but I had the
Elder Wand.
Elder Wand
Yeah.
that I got from a random box.
Yeah. And
And
I
it-
have
and it
Voldemort's
broke.
wand.
It's actually very appropriate that it
broke.
broke.
I know, I need my wand. My actual wand. Have you guys been keeping up with Johnny Depp's trial?
Oh, yeah, I have.
I have not been, but he
It-
tells me about it all the time, and I'm like, okay, give me the update, because how it went was the trial started, neither one of us was paying attention, and then Biggs found out about
The poop. I didn't believe it at first. I had to research this. Someone told me, and I'm like, yeah, right, that's probably just clickbait. No, it was like a legit part of the case.
so
Amber Heard took a poop on his bed.
the herd turd.
The Heard turd.
And ever since that, he's been following the case the whole time. Ever since the poop, he's been following it. So he gives me updates when I get home from work. And he's like, oh my god, this happened. Oh my
Because-
god, this happened.
Because that happened, and I was like, okay, that's funny. But then I found like a video about
Ooh.
Amber Heard's lawyer. Her lawyer looks like she found him at the dollar store.
I have seen none of this.
Or the lady, and then if you should see the video with her and the psychiatrist, like going back and forth. Oh my god, it's just hilarious.
Oh no. Are we gonna after we're done streaming? Am I gonna watch these and get hooked onto this whole train wreck of a situation?
Maybe. I think it's like free use. We could honestly just stream it and talk about it. if
Oh
we
my
want to at some
god! Oh
point.
my god! BiblioBibuli And all of their literary content and expertise weighs in on the Depp Heard case.
Like,
The dump turd case.
I haven't seen all of Amber's testimony. I haven't gone back and watched that yet. So, right now, I haven't made a full decision on who I think is right in this case. I'm just kind of there for the laughs.
You don't care about the outcome.
Yeah.
You just want to be entertained.
I mean, so far, it's definitely leaning towards, it seems like Johnny's in the right here. But, yeah, Amber just started her testimony, and I think it was her second day of testifying. I haven't listened to it yet, so
Okay.
we'll see if that opinion changes afterwards. But so far, it's been hilarious,
Okay.
and that's what I can say.
Oh, thank you, Maddie. Paisley, I am a Slytherin.
I am a Gryffindor. Proud of it, no matter how much you try to demean me for it.
You demean me all the time for being a Slytherin, so don't even.
Fair.
Yeah. Feel like, as a Slytherin, I must constantly defend myself.
Well, stop doing Slytherin stuff.
That right there. That right there. Rude.
We did the breakdown too. I'm trying to think. I think I was like a 90% Gryffindor, and then I think my next one was Ravenclaw. I think it's super low though. I think it was like 30% Ravenclaw, and then it was like 10% Slytherin, 9% Hufflepuff or something.
My lowest was Hufflepuff too. Mine was Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I was an extreme Gryffindor. Like, some people are like, well, I could have gone either way. No, that was Gryffindor.
What magical pet or beast would you own if you could choose?
That is a good question. It's a very good question, actually. Probably a Thestral.
You wouldn't be able to see it.
It's true.
You'd have to like kill somebody or something. Watch someone die.
I just go to the ICU. Be like, who's on life support? Just camp out. How you feeling? Feeling like, do you see the light? Go to it. But no, they can fly. I mean,
But
I
you
guess,
wouldn't be able to see it.
yeah, but still,
They're cool. I'm just saying you would be able to see it.
But at the same time, it would be cool because then you'd just be flying and people be like, what's happening?
No.
Yeah, you don't like heights.
No. Especially if I'm flying on something and I can't see what I'm holding on to.
That's true.
Which, speaking of which, Luna and Harry are like flying on the Thestrals to the Ministry, like, yeah, this is fine. Everyone else, like, can't see the Thestrals when they're flying over London. It must have been terrifying. I would like some Kneasels.
I knew it.
But I would also like some dragons.
Yeah, but obviously you can't tame the dragons.
It's not about taming the dragons. We'd have to have like a dragon refuge.
So you'd be Charlie.
Yes.
Okay, then.
I probably would be Charlie. Like, if I say all these things about, oh, it'd be great to do this, it'd be great to do that. But in all honesty, that is probably where I would be in the wizarding world. I would probably be Charlie.
Just handling the... everyone says they'd be a Charlie. But really, they become a Hagrid.
Oh, look, Hagrid successfully raised Aragog.
I mean, that's true. I'm not saying that he's bad with them, but
Do you either die a Charlie or live long enough to see yourself become a Hagrid?
Yeah.
Okay. Either way,
No, I guess it. I feel like you're more likely to die as a Hagrid with the risks you take.
That's true.
When you make it to Charlie, you've made it.
I would be Charlie. That's like what I would end up doing with my life, or I would be Newt Scamander. One of the
That
two.
should just be a quiz on its own. Which Weasley are you?
I think there probably is one out there. Which Weasley are you? I'm sure it's out there.
Which Weasley would I be? Oh, we've already done this. You said I'm Ron. Never mind. Forgot we had this conversation like not too long ago.
Someone in the stream or in the comments said that we are Ron and Hermione.
I could see it.
Someone said that to us. We're the Ron and Hermione of Muggles, YouTube, whatever.
I could see it.
I could see it. Makes sense.
Just wish you did my homework for me.
I do your laundry for you.
And I cook you dinner.
All right, so who's your favorite Weasley?
Well, I have two, but they're the same person, Fred and George.
I have two, but they're the same person. Fred and George.
You can't just say Fred or you can't say George. What distinguishes them?
Yeah, but now you have to just say George.
Ouch. Wow. Okay. Too soon.
My favorite Weasley. I don't know if this is lame, but I love Ron. I love Ron.
Oh, come on. Not even Arthur?
Arthur's probably a close second.
I mean, Arthur's great.
Arthur is
not even
great.
Molly?
No.
Get away from my daughter, you bitch.
I mean, that's a great moment, but she's not my favorite Weasley. She annoys me a little bit in book 5, I'm not gonna lie.
Why?
She's a little much.
That's the
Her
when she starts her feud with Fleur, right? That's when Fleur and Billy get
No,
together?
it's when her and Sirius fight.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ron. I love Ron. Come on, he's great.
I mean, he is great. The unsung hero.
Yeah.
Harry's the boy who lived. Hermione's the smart one, but people forget. Ron is like the king of common sense.
Yes! He keeps the two of them on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And sometimes he just figures shit out and just like nonchalantly says shit, and he's right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy how he does that. Maddie says Mrs. Weasley annoys her. The thing about Mrs. Weasley that doesn't tip me way over the edge is like she annoys me a little bit, but I get it because she's just like the ultimate mom.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a little much. Ron is not boring. He's my favorite. Molly is a close second. Ron is the glue.
I guess it all depends. I mean, Ron's boring if you're talking about movie Ron.
Yeah, if you're talking about book Ron, though, book Ron is awesome.
Yes. That's where he gets interesting.
That's when he's good. There is some stuff where he like accidentally predicts things, and it's wild. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I don't know why I thought of this, but we were talking about the Amber Heard trial and Johnny Depp.
Oh God,
like,
coming back to it.
What characters would they be if they were in the Wizarding world? And I have to say, I don't know who Amber would be, but I think Johnny would probably be Slughorn. Slughorn and an ex-wife. He's got that, the bling, the gold rings and everything. It's
Yeah,
a
but
bit show-offish.
But he does everything to excess. Slughorn doesn't do that. Slughorn has self-control.
Come on.
He does.
Come on.
What? Slughorn has self-control. He's a functioning adult.
Mm-hmm.
He's a functioning adult.
Well, he is. Johnny Depp is too. He just, likes to indulge in Felix Felicis a little bit more.
I don't think Johnny Depp is Slughorn. Book Ginny is awesome too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Book Ginny is.
Book Ginny was so much better.
Book Ginny is actually like
they really just hated the Weasleys.
Yeah, I know. And then they burned their house down in the 6th movie. Like, they really did hate that.
Yeah.
They burned their house down. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I feel like their favorite part of that movie was when Fred died.
Wow. Could be.
Well, apparently. The one scene they actually kept in from the books that happened in the movies.
Yeah.
Everything else they doctored up or made weird.
Yeah.
You know what scenes I'm talking about, the ones with Ginny and Harry.
Yeah, those were some of the most uncomfortable moments I've ever watched in film.
I think something happened behind the scenes. Had to have.
And then we didn't even get the Madame Puttyfoot's awkward date between Harry and Cho. We didn't need that. We got cringe Harry and Ginny.
It would have been too much if we got all that. Johnny Depp is definitely Tom Riddle.
Maybe Amber Heard is Bellatrix then.
There we go. They're both crazy. Case solved.
My lord, I did not poop on your bed. It was Nagini. Wormtail.
That's a real struggle, though. It's not that she pooped on his bed. It's that, Johnny Depp doesn't clean his own sheets. Some poor maid or butler had to clean up her poop.
Oh, man.
Heard is Narcissa? Maybe.
I have no context. I haven't watched any of this footage, so I got nothing for this.
It's hard for me to go off of Amber because, like I said, I haven't watched her testimony yet. I've just seen Johnny's.
Isn't he trying not to laugh half the time?
Yeah. But I can't blame him. Some of the stuff that happens is just so funny. It's like the whole case is just kind of a joke.
I have no context. I can't say who would be who. I got nothing.
It's just.
Sorry, I got nothing. I don't know.
You're gonna have to watch it.
Apparently, I have to tune into some of this nonsense.
Who jumps in front of Harry on a broken leg?
Ron. In Azkaban.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, Sirius breaks his leg.
Yeah.
Well, tears his leg apart.
In a dog form.
He pulls a Dobby. I was helping.
He pulls a Dobby. I was helping.
You can't run to your death if you can't run.
This is true. This is true. I'm just trying to calm down from laughing. I'm sorry. I was laughing a lot.
Yeah, like Maddie said, it seems like a fake case. It just seems like it's Judge Judy, like.
Oh, so
reality TV.
maybe I would find it interesting.
It's so great.
Ron is brave. The movies did him no justice. Absolutely.
They did do Neville justice, though.
They did. There could have been more Neville.
Yeah.
Like the scene where Neville's in the hospital with his parents. That would have been good to have.
That's true.
And Gilderoy Lockhart, the return.
Yeah.
I can do joined writing now.
Oh, maybe Depp is Lockhart.
Is he that arrogant?
I think so, probably.
Maybe.
I mean, when it comes to acting at this point, he's had such a successful career that it's fair. He can be arrogant.
I mean, he really has had quite the career. Edward Scissorhands
I mean, that's all
is one of
over
my...
now, but
it's all
one
over
while
now.
lasted.
I
would love a Neville spinoff. Imagine just like a sitcom style with Neville going to class and teaching the class from his perspective.
Oh, Neville, the herbology professor?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, dear Lord.
It's like The Office, but in Hogwarts.
I would love a version of The Office, but with the teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
McGonagall playing Michael. Because McGonagall is headmistress when Neville's working there, right? I know she takes over after.
Oh my
all
God,
the
though.
stuff goes
How
down.
great would it be if it was the Harry Potter years? Dumbledore is Michael. Dumbledore is Michael. And the big running joke is that every season there's a new person there. They only last a year.
I am the greatest headmaster.
They say it is better to be feared than loved. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Sir, we've hired... No. Walks in. We've hired Gilderoy Lockhart this year. No! No! God, please, no!
Angela is Umbridge. They are the same person.
Her cat.
Save Bandit!
Who's Dwight, though? Hagrid?
No, not even close.
Snape? Yeah.
Yes! Because Dwight always knows it's Jim, but he can't prove it. Snape always knows it's Harry, and he can't prove it. Snape is Dwight. Ah, that's great.
So who's Jim?
Well, it couldn't be Harry, right? It would have to be,
Flitwick?
yeah, jeez, I don't know. Stanley is Slughorn. I think we can establish that one.
Spills his crystallized pineapple all over the rug.
I don't care what's going on today, my boy. It's pretzel day. I'd have to think about it. I don't know who Jim would be. Or Pam, for that matter. Or Ryan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they'd have to rotate in as the Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers. Because
Yeah.
Ryan could be Gilderoy Lockhart.
Yeah.
And Jim could maybe be Lupin?
But who would Filch be? That's the question.
The security guard downstairs? Hank?
Yeah, he would have to be like the people working in the warehouse. What's
One
the
of
guy's
them.
name? Yeah.
Yeah. Daryl?
Yep.
Man, oh man.
It would be great. We need the spin-off.
We need
Forget Fantastic Beasts. All right, you got them all out there. You got the trilogy. Forget any more. Do this show.
do this show. do this and Snape Noir,
Yeah.
and then we're good. That's what
Get creative, Hollywood.
Yeah, let's do The Office Hogwarts edition. I'm here for that, big time. I'm trying to. Would McGonagall have to be Jan? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or Phyllis.
Jan.
Maybe. I'd have to think about it more.
Phyllis would be Sprout.
I could see it.
So there you go. We worked it out.
Andy. Nerd Dog.
He's not on till later. We don't count him.
We don't count him. Oh, okay. He's in season 2.
I thought it was like season 3 or 4.
No, he's in season 2.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Yeah, I don't know.
And
maybe one of the Defense Against the
Kelly
Darkness
Kapoor.
I don't remember her.
Mindy Kaling.
I've seen episodes here and there.
Oh,
I've seen
fair
like
enough.
maybe 10 episodes of The Office in total.
Oh,
Everything
God.
else I know about The Office is what you've referenced
Fair enough.
that you then tell me about.
Because I've seen every episode like 1,000 times.
Yeah. So has everyone in my office. So,
I haven't watched since it left Netflix. I haven't watched any of it in a hot minute, and it makes me sad.
this is a sign NBC, bring it back.
It's on like Peacock now or whatever.
Yeah, but you have to pay for that.
Yeah, I
too.
don't want to. I'd rather buy the crap on DVD.
Fair enough.
One of the best parts of the book. Melanie Lee, hi, just got here. I was at another online. Hi, Melanie Lee.
Hello.
Yay, she made it. Yay.
Glad you could make it.
I'm so happy you made it. Yeah, the Quidditch commentary is great. Lee Jordan is awesome, and so is Luna.
Yeah.
Luna is a great Quidditch commentator. She's fantastic.
I would love to just see them start up a YouTube channel or something where they just commentate as the characters again over actual sports.
That'd be great.
Or like nature commentaries. Luna doing nature commentaries.
Oh, I would do that. I would do that. You could voice over, and I'll just be Luna and just do it.
That would be great.
Oh, would you look at that? Look at those zebras. Oh, looks like that one's
You
hopping
can
on top
see
of the
they're
other one.
swishing their tails to chase the Raxperts away.
Oh, Mr. Lion, don't go in there. I think there's nargles in there. Oh, no.
Oh, no, just an antelope.
Well, it was an antelope.
So, should we read another chapter of All the Young Dudes, or should we continue our animal commentaries?
I don't know what's happening anymore. We've lost control of the stream. We were gonna read lots, and then we talked about other things.
We need to get Noelle back just to
Keep us on
keep us
track.
on track.
Fair enough.
Guys, you've been talking about The Office for about 10 minutes now.
But it was related
It's a
to Harry Potter.
stream. Well, yeah. But we're talking about all the young dudes.
Fair enough. I know, we've been streaming for an hour. We read one chapter. We're doing great. At this rate, we'll finish this fan fiction at the beginning of next year.
No, I think we'll finish before then.
I was
How
just
many
kidding.
chapters are there?
188.
Oh, dang.
We're on 112 right now.
Okay. Well, let's begin. 112.
Chapter 112. 6th year. Apparitions. Sirius didn't show up for dinner. Emmeline wandered over and asked James where he was, but James just shrugged. Sorry, he said. We were on a mission earlier, but I lost track of him. Hope Filch never caught him.
And why would Filch be looking for Sirius? Lily asked, setting down her knife and fork and giving James a very direct look.
I'm sure I don't know, James said quickly, staring at his mashed potato as if it was the most fascinating thing in the world. 20 minutes later, the prefects were summoned to an emergency meeting to discuss a problem on the 5th floor. All the suits of armor had apparently begun singing opera. All of the students were ordered to their common rooms for the rest of the evening, and when Peter, Remus, Marlene, and Mary reached the tower, they found Sirius there, sitting in front of the fireplace, smoking.
Where did he get the fags? Remus wondered.
He usually asks me. Sirius Black was not the type to buy his own cigarettes. He was a professional borrower.
All right, Black? Mary asked cheerfully.
Yeah, fine, Sirius grunted, still staring at the fire.
Weren't hungry? She asked.
Nope. He inhaled and puffed out like a restless dragon.
Ah, Mary raised a knowing eyebrow and looked at the others. In one of your moods, I see.
He did not respond to this. Remus often forgot how well Mary knew Sirius. He admired the breezy, no-nonsense way she dealt with him. His own instinct was often to coddle and give in. He ought to take a leaf out of Mary's book, he thought. When Christopher returned from the prefects' meeting, Remus stuck to him like glue for as long as possible, partly because he knew he'd hurt him and he wanted to show him that nothing had changed, partly because he knew that Sirius wouldn't come anywhere near them while they were together. They sat on the window seat at the back of the room, furthest from the fireplace. It was the same place Sirius had sat with Remus only a few months ago, where they'd argued, then made up. But he wasn't thinking about it. He was listening to Christopher's rundown of the prefects' meeting. And everybody knows Potter's probably had something to do with it, but obviously there's no proof because he's basically a professional vandal and everyone loves him, so he gets away with it. Even Lily Evans has given up. She never takes him to task like she used to.
Really?
Remus feigned interest, watching the back of Sirius's armchair. Yeah, Christopher nodded. She's gone soft on him. I even asked her what she thought should be done to punish the pranksters, and she actually giggled. She said it was really quite funny, and as it hadn't hurt anyone, that I should lighten up. I used to really look up to her, you know.
Maybe you should lighten up, Remus sighed. It does sound like it was funny. God knows we could all do with a laugh.
Prefects are supposed to uphold all the rules, Christopher replied, an echo of McGonagall in his voice. Not just the boring ones. Anyway, if that's how you feel, I don't know why I even bother. He started to get up.
Chris.
Remus looked up at him.
Come on, don't be like that. I'll quiz you on runes if you like.
I don't feel like it, Christopher replied snippily. I'm going to bed. He walked off toward the dorms. Remus sighed again and rubbed his eyes. He'd give it a few moments and go up himself. It had been a trying sort of day. But of course it wasn't over. No sooner had Remus brushed his teeth and changed into his pajamas than Sirius had taken his opportunity. He was standing in the dorm room with a face like thunder, arms folded. Remus felt at a bit of a disadvantage in his night things and bare feet, but he tried to remain stoic and nodded.
Hello, Sirius. I'm just going to bed.
He tried to walk toward his side of the room, but Sirius blocked him.
You really pissed me off, you know that? He said furiously.
Excuse me, Remus reeled back, frowning. Sirius carried on, practically ranting.
If you were trying to make me jealous, then I think it's really bloody low of you, Remus.
Remus rolled his eyes, which he knew would rile Sirius up even more.
Oh, of course, he said sarcastically. Everything's about you, isn't it? For God's sake, you weren't even supposed to be there, so why didn't you just leave with the rest of the group? I thought you'd want to go down to dinner together. How was I supposed to know you've been having secret trysts with that? I haven't been having secret trysts with anyone but you, you idiot, Remus spat, and you've already made me regret that. Christopher is my friend, and either way, it's none of your bloody business, so keep your nose out.
Fine, Sirius shouted. If that's what you want.
I said so, didn't I?
Remus was so furious, so angry, that he knew if he stayed much longer he'd do something he regretted. They both liked the last word in an argument, and it was one of the only ways they were similar. As he had nowhere to go, he pushed past Sirius to his bed and shut the curtain so vigorously he almost ripped the rings from its frame. In a few moments, he heard Sirius's angry footsteps stomping down the stairs.
Oh.
Yeah. You gotta give me a minute.
Okay. Expecting someone? Oh. Now I just kind of feel like Ian Malcolm when he gets left in the car. Now I'm just here by myself, talking to myself. Bailey, come here. It's okay. And Wandering Spirit, I have been following that. Bailey, come here. Hey. Relax. I have been following the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. I haven't actually watched Amber Heard's testimony yet. So I can't really say one way or another how I feel about the case, but so far it's just been so fucking hilarious. It seems like a reality TV show. Let me see. Is the case still going on right now? Like, are they still live streaming it? No, probably not. No. I was gonna say, so I'd have something to speak about, could throw it on. I don't know how long Lex is gonna be. I think the best part about the trial, if no one has checked anything out yet, look up the conversation between Amber Heard's lawyer and the psychiatrist. It is absolutely priceless. Or no, she's a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. Oh, relax. Mute this for 1 second. Yeah, Melanie, I just muted the mic when Lex came back in because Bailey was going to bark a little bit till he saw it was her. You feel bad for her? Yeah. Um, I agree. I think she does have some mental issues from what I've heard. And if she didn't before, I'm sure all this news coming out about everything that happened is really not helping her mental health. Because I know most people are definitely backing Johnny Depp on this. And that usually means that there's a lot of memes coming out about Amber Heard pooping the bed. And what the psychologist even came out and basically said that she shows all the signs of multiple personality disorder or bipolar disorder, or was it both? Something along those lines. I'd have to look again, but either way, you're having all these mental issues just put on blast for the world to see, and everyone's watching it. Like, if you didn't have mental issues before, any sane person would have mental issues after this case.
There is just something. There is just something kind of sad about it. There is a sad aspect to it.
There is.
Like, you're kind of watching somebody fall apart. She's kind of falling apart
Kind of.
from what it sounds like.
But the silver lining to this is that it's all out there now, so hopefully she can get the help she needs. Or maybe they'll find out that, I guess either way, win or lose, she'll get the help she needs. They're either going to find out that, yes, Johnny Depp was abusing her, and she's going to get the assistance she needs to overcome that. Or they're going to be like, no, she was abusing Johnny Depp. She needs to go to a psych ward and get some mental help.
Yes.
So.
Are you better now, BD? Are you better now, BD?
Yes, it was Dr. Curry. Dr. Curry was great. And, the only issue I have with this case, and I think you will agree once you watch it, Amber Heard's lawyer is the worst lawyer I have ever seen. She's terrible.
Worse than Rudy Giuliani?
She's worse.
Oh, God.
She can't even remember the name of the person who's testifying.
That's pretty bad. How much money is Amber Heard spending on this terrible person?
I don't know. And it's just, you'll have to watch it. It's good. But okay, are you all set with everything?
Yeah, I'm good now. Like, we can finish the chapter. Sorry about that. Well, Remus thought, if he didn't get the message before, he's got it now. Monday, 4th of April, 1977. Inconveniently enough, the very first apparition lesson of the year happened to fall on the April full moon. Remus was already intensely nervous, in that shaky, sweaty sort of way, about these lessons. Add to that the challenge he usually had keeping his magic under control in the days preceding the moon, and he was sure it was a recipe for disaster. "I might end up on the other side of the country," he said in a low voice to Lily as they queued up outside the great hall. "You can't," she assured him. "I asked Professor McGonagall. They've only lifted the anti-apparition measures on the hall, so I don't think you can get outside of it." "Really? That's good," he nodded, trying to calm himself. It had been unendingly useful having Lily aware of the furry little problem. She was much better at common sense than James's Sirius. "Anyway," she whispered, "you should stop acting like it's a bad thing, being extra strong sometimes. I'd have thought it was an advantage, especially for someone as clever as you." That struck him in a funny way. No one had ever suggested he try to be positive about his problem before. Well, except for Livia. You don't know half the power you hold, Remus Lupin. Inside the hall, Professor McGonagall introduced the eager 6th and 7th years to the tall, spindly ministry official who was there to teach them apparition. Remus had, of course, done a fair bit of reading on the subject and already knew about the 3Ds, but he'd rather hoped there'd be more to it than that. After much too little instruction, in Remus's opinion, the students were given wooden hoops, asked to simply have a go. He caught Mary's eye as they carried their hoops to a free space. She pulled a bug-eyed face and he laughed, which earned a stern look from the instructor. Not wanting to make a bad impression, Remus refocused his attention on the hoop. It was very difficult to concentrate when everyone around you was twirling on the spot, tripping and stumbling, like puppies being trained to roll over. Still, Remus closed his eyes and tried. Deliberation. Best not take it too fast, like flying a broom. Slow and steady wins the race. Determination. He really, really wanted to beat Sirius. Destination. The hoop wasn't even that far away. He'd side-alonged further, that time with Mr. Potter. Remus tried to recall how that had felt, the magic pulling him forward. No, more like following a channel, like water swirling down a bathtub drain. If you pressed your fingertips against the holes, you could feel the vacuum sucking. It was a bit like that. Bollocks! A shout went up, causing a lapse in Remus's concentration. He opened his eyes in time to see James and Sirius sitting dazed on the floor, staring at each other, confused, rubbing their heads. Oh no, he thought. Did they do it already? Idiots! Mary laughed. Everyone else was laughing too, and Sirius was looking extremely put out as he climbed to his feet and dusted off his robes with a dignified sniff. What happened? Remus asked. They both jumped at the same time and hit each other, she snorted. Silly buggers. I'm not feeling anything, are you? Remus shook his head. He closed his eyes again and concentrated as hard as he could, feeling for whatever it might be that would pull him in the right direction. He thought he had it, tried twirling, but got nowhere. At least he didn't fall over. Something wasn't right. This was like the stupid Patronus thing all over again. He still hadn't managed one. He was one of the only ones who hadn't. Even Peter had produced a wispy bit of silver. Only the trick to that was having a happy thought, and Remus accepted that happy thoughts were not his forte. This, however, required determination, and wasn't he determined? Just then the ministry-sanctioned apparition instructor wafted past, and Remus caught a whiff of his magic. It was peculiar and strong, like buzzing. As a child, Remus had held... It reminded him of the old TV in the rec room at St. Edmund's gathered a fuzz of static to the screen. As a child, Remus had held his hands up to it in wonder and stroked the bizarre, otherworldly energy, as if he could absorb it. There was a snap in Remus's mind like ice cracking. That was it. Remus relaxed his body. He didn't have to look for the right channel or try to feel it out. He could already feel it. The room was full of magic, thick and iron-like and hot-cold against his teeth. He could always sense it. He'd just learned to tune it out over the years. That was harder to do on a full moon, but in this scenario that might not be a disadvantage, as Lily had said. He closed his eyes, breathed in and moved. It felt like only the slightest twitch, a wand flick, or the quirk of an eyebrow. He let the magic do all the work, and when he opened his eyes with a gasp, he was inside the hoop. Bravo! The instructor was clapping his spindly hands together delicately, noiselessly. Nice one, Mooney! James called across the room, a large egg-shaped bruise growing on his forehead. Well done, Remus! The girls cheered. Remus looked at his feet, embarrassed but thrilled. Friday, 15th of April, 1977. By mid-April, there seemed to be no limits to Remus's newfound confidence. He was cautious about it, of course. He didn't tell anybody. Perish the thought, in case they might think him arrogant, or even worse, dangerous. But he knew that something had changed. For many years now, Remus had considered his lycanthropy and the uncontrollable feelings and senses which arose from it as a limitation on his magic. In the past few weeks, if the past few weeks were an indication of anything, this had been incorrect. Perhaps this misunderstanding was simply due to the fact that too little study had been done on werewolves in the wizarding world.
Lose your place?
Yes. Or perhaps Livia had been right. Remus had been instructed by the wrong people all along. Now, in private, he carried out various experiments, from simple basic spells to much more complex transfiguration and transmutation. All of them came much easier when he relaxed, when he harnessed whatever magic was already there in the space around him. Before, casting a spell had been like drawing water up from a well inside him, a heavy bucket in a winch. After the apparition discovery, he felt as though he'd been standing in a lake all along, and all he needed to do was drink. He hadn't even begun to make steps towards wordless magic. In the meantime, he had exams to prepare for, and with his newfound strength, it would certainly be useful in the practical exams. Remus still had to complete several written papers. On this particular afternoon, he'd convinced James, and by extension Peter, to revise along with him. It was a bright spring day, and the last chills of winter had eked out enough that they'd all agreed it would be nice to sit outside for a change. They sprawled on the grass, books open, James reading with his tongue between his teeth and a quill behind his ear, Peter half-heartedly jotting down notes on hinky punks. "It's not fair," he whinged. "It's not NEWTs or OWLs this year. Why have we got to do exams at all?" "Wouldn't want to lose your edge, Wormy," James replied, still engrossed in the book. "Think of it as practice for NEWTs." "Rather not." Peter pulled a face. "Mooney, do you have the notes for—" "Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays," Remus said promptly, not looking up from his DADA essay. "What?" Peter scratched his head. "Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays," Remus repeated. "Those are the days I hold my study groups, and those are the days I help other people with their work. I need the rest of the time to catch up on my own stuff." "But I'm your best friend," Peter moaned. "Please, Mooney." "Less time snogging Dorcas, more time organizing your notes," Remus smirked. It was very easy to be pious when you weren't allowed to snog the people you wanted to snog. Speaking of which... "All right, lads." Sirius came sauntering across the lawn toward them, Emmeline trotting on behind. James looked up and grinned. Peter moved to make a space. "Where have you been?" James asked. "Never see you these days." "Not my fault you've become one of them, Prefect Potter," Sirius replied coolly. "I had detention." "You're in detention more often than I'm doing anything prefectish," James countered, no longer reading his book, now back in Marauder mode. He looked at Emmeline, who sat primly beside Sirius, smoothing her skirt down. "All right, Em." "Hi, James," she smiled back at him. "Peter, Remus, are you all revising?" "Unfortunately," Peter groaned. "Mooney's not helping me, though." "Oh, help yourself for once," Remus snapped, no longer lightly teasing. "I think it's a good idea," Emmeline said encouragingly. "Get it out of the way before Hogsmeade this weekend. I think it's responsible. Don't you, Sirius?" "S'pose." "Speaking of," she continued, ignoring his brush off, "what do you fancy doing in Hogsmeade? Will I meet you there? Will you pick me up outside my common room?" I don't know. Why does it have to be a big deal?" Peter, despite his earlier despair, suddenly became very fascinated by his DADA notes, head bowed over the parchment. "Other boys don't mind making plans to take their girlfriends out," Emmeline said, her voice edging on shrill. This was clearly old ground for him. Like Peter, James and Remus began to concentrate on their books and notes as if their lives depended on it. Sirius and Emmeline carried on bickering regardless. "I'm not other boys," Sirius growled. "I thought you liked that." "So did I," she shot back. "So what? I'm a terrible boyfriend because I don't want to trail around after you like some soppy git?" "That's not what I'm asking, and you know it." "Stop complaining, then." "I'm not Sounds like it. Moan, moan, moan." Emmeline opened and closed her mouth a few times, clearly wanting to say something back, but not wanting it to sound like moaning. Finally, she sat in silence, staring at the ground. Her eyes looked a bit brighter than usual, and Remus finally felt himself softening toward her. Poor girl. "Oh, Merlin, don't sulk," Sirius complained at her silence. "If you're angry, then let's have a fight. If you're okay, then give us a snog. But please don't sulk." "Ugh! And those are the only two options with you, aren't they, Sirius?" Emmeline snapped, climbing to her feet and folding her arms across her chest. "Yes," he replied, grinning that serious black grin. She threw up her hands and stormed away, back toward the castle. Once she was gone, there was only the uncomfortable silence left. James cleared his throat. "Not very nice, Pads." He handed over his textbook. "She's upset now." "She's always upset," Sirius whined. "What about my feelings?" "I'm not convinced you have any," James said without missing a beat. "What do you think, Moony?" Remus glanced up from his book, hoping he looked harassed and uninterested, as if he hadn't been paying rapt attention. "Does Padfoot have feelings?" Sirius caught his eye. Remus straightened his back, looked away. "Definitely not." Sirius stood up without a word and left. "Sirius! Oi!" James stood, but Sirius did not look back. James scratched his head, sitting back down uneasily. He was thoughtful for a moment before looking at Remus. "Moony, is something going on between you?" Remus glared at him. "Ask him." "I did. He won't say anything." "Really?" Remus was genuinely surprised. He'd been half certain Sirius had told him every filthy detail. He must be really ashamed. "Really?" James was looking at him very intensely now. "What's going on?" I slept with Mary." At least it was true. Peter made an odd sort of gasp beside him, but Remus ignored it. "He found out, that's all." "You what?" James's eyebrows shot up in unmasked surprise. He quickly rearranged his features, clearing his throat. "Oh, well, good on you, mate. I had no idea you and she—" "Just a one-off thing," Remus said quickly. "Oh, okay. Right, well, why's Sirius in a mood about it? He and Mary broke up ages ago." "Yeah," Remus replied glumly. He sighed. "Oh, go on then, Pete. Borrow my notes. What bit are you stuck on?"
Seems like Remus dodged a bullet with Sirius.
Right? It does kind of sound like that, doesn't it? Sirius kind of sounds like a terrible person to be with, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's
Two
not...
options. Happy or fighting.
Yeah.
And right now, Remus is kind of sulking, so
Yeah.
wouldn't go over too well.
It's all... I actually got the script of all the young dudes bound together into books and read them because of watching your live streams. Loved it. Still watching the stream. Wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
I have heard that people do that.
Yeah, they do.
Bind them together. Print the
Yeah.
PDFs.
You can, yeah, you can have people make books of it for you.
Yeah.
It's usually in 3 volumes. That it's...
Oh, that much?
Yeah.
Dang.
I've seen them.
It's very cool.
I've seen them. It's pretty... Some of them are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
The 3rd book is called Till the Very End.
Oh. Wait, what are all the books called? What are the first and second ones called? Do they actually have...
They put titles on them. Let me see.
Yeah, do they, like, make them up, or is there,
Let me see.
agreed upon titles for the trilogies?
Let me look. Real quick.
I would assume we're probably at the end of book 2 and...
So, book one is just book book one is years 1 through 4. Book 2 is years 5 through 7, and then book 3 is till the very end.
Oh, okay.
And the
Yeah, Wandering Spirit just said it.
so the cover of the first one is all 4 of them like in their uniforms, like talking to each other. The second one is Sirius and Remus like lying down facing each other. And then the third one is James dancing with Lily.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like they should come up with some good names for it.
I think that I'm invested in this so much that when Lily and James pass away, it's gonna wreck me.
Your eyes are watering a little bit thinking about it.
I'm also getting like dry eyes.
Oh, okay.
Aw, thank you. I like
Thank
to do
you.
my voices. They're fun. I had a great time doing the Danny chapter this morning. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad
that's
we've
awesome.
led people to all the young dudes.
I
That's
know.
really cool. And I'm glad you're still listening to us read it, even though you've already finished it. So don't spoil anything. That's all we ask. Don't spoil anything for those who aren't done.
It's come full circle because a subscriber was the one who recommended all the young dudes to us.
That's true. Oh my god, Ada says it's devastating. Oh, it's gonna be devastating. It's gonna be like reading Malfoy Manor all over again. Oh. And then Shell Cottage.
I don't think anything could be worse than Dobby's death.
I don't know. Snape's death hits very hard for me every time. It's always devastating.
I'm okay with that.
There's another death in A Song of Ice and Fire that also upsets me quite a lot.
It hasn't happened in the books, right? Just in the show?
No, it happened in the books.
Oh, okay. I can't think of it then. I'm not sure.
Maddie's just like, oh yeah, it is. It's devastating.
Man.
Oh man.
We kind of know it's coming though.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, the last book we could kind of guess what happens step by step.
Yeah. I mean, based on some of the chapters that I've looked through, like, yeah. God, 7th year is really long. The summer is 5 chapters.
This summer?
This upcoming summer is 5 chapters.
Well, yeah, because Remus can no longer go to the orphanage. He's too old. So what's he gonna do? It's probably going to be when Sirius, Lupin, and James like move in together.
If they do.
Yeah. That's what I would assume. So more stuff would happen.
The summary for this next chapter says, I dedicate the chapter to one of my most prolific reviewers, Asio Meatballs.
It's also Accio.
Maddie says, I can see why people say that they've cried. It's very bittersweet. Oh, the summer. I won. I won't say anymore. Oh, God. What is coming? What is coming?
Is it going to get out that Lupin and Sirius have a thing? Is James going to figure it out?
I do know one thing that's going to happen at some point in the story.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's that?
At some point in the story, Lupin is going to come out to all of them.
Okay, so probably the summer. Make most sense.
Like
they're having this fight over it. Maybe they're going to move in together, and it's going to be hard to
No, I saw somewhere that... Remember when before they were talking about going camping?
Yeah.
The Muggle way, like Lily wants to. They do at some point, and Remus comes out, I guess, at that point.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know where in the story it happens. I do know that happens, though. But beyond that, I do not know more. I think I have time to read one more, though.
Okay.
Are we ready to
You think
read
you
one
got
more?
time? Yeah, I'm down.
We have 20 minutes, so...
All right.
Chapter 113, 6th year. The Box.
Insert Brad Pitt meme. What's in the box?
The Quidditch stands on a Sunday were one of the only places you were guaranteed some peace and quiet at Hogwarts. Remus had been going there every week since his birthday to catch the tail end of James's Spartan training sessions and to have a flying lesson of his own afterwards. This morning, however, as he limped onto the stands, he found he was not alone. "Hi, Lily," Remus beamed, surprised. "What are you doing here?" Lily spun round and blinked at him, mouth open in a small pink O, as if she'd not expected anyone else. Her eyes darted to the pitch, then back to Remus nervously, and she gave a sheepish grin. "Hi! Just watching Miles practice. Moral support and all that." "Oh, right. Mind if I join you?" She smiled and shifted her bag, as if to make room for him, though the stands were completely empty. They sat quietly and watched the practice for a bit. James was drilling the chasers and the keeper, so only half the team were here today. Remus vaguely remembered James's focus sessions initiative, which had come as a relief to the rest of the Gryffindor team, as it meant they didn't actually have to practice every day, even if James did. Lily," Remus said after a while, "did you know Marlene isn't practicing today?" She looked down at her knees, her hair falling in a coppery sheet in front of her face. "Yes," she whispered. "So you're here to watch?" "Don't make me say it, Remus." She sounded defeated. She raised her head, pushed her hair behind her ear. "Go on then. Let me have it." "What?" Remus was amused. Perfect Lily Evans all come undone. Sirius would love it. "Tease me, make fun of me, tell me I'm a complete idiot." She sighed, looking out at the pitch. "I already know." "I don't think you're an idiot just for fancying James." Remus laughed, nudging her jovially. "But, I mean, it is a bit funny, after all this time." "Ugh, I know," she groaned. "I can't bloody believe it." "Does he know?" "No!" She stared at him in disbelief. "I'd absolutely die." "Why?" Remus laughed again. "You honestly think he'd turn you down? He's been hoping for this exact thing for 5 years. "Exactly!" she said, gesturing wildly with her hands, spreading out her fingers in every show of exasperation. "He's wanted it forever, and I've only wanted it for well, maybe a little while, actually, but nowhere near as long. If I give in now, he's so intense. I might break his heart." She bit her lip, still watching him flying, blowing his whistle and pointing emphatically at the goal rings. "You might," Remus agreed, "but I think James Potter would consider it an honor to have his heart broken by you." She snorted. "Remus, honestly, you sound as bad as he does. I'm not this, perfect dream girl who's going to breeze into his life and make all the crap stuff wonderful. It's not a fairy tale. I'm not a fairy tale. I'm really annoying. I'm a complete mess in the mornings, ask Mary, and I hate losing arguments, and I shout when I'm angry, and my nose runs when I cry. I don't know about Quidditch, and I really don't want to learn either." "So?" Remus smiled. "I'm pretty sure he knows most of that. If he doesn't, then I don't think it'll hurt him to find out. Anyway, it's not as if James is perfect. I've smelled his socks." Lily laughed. "Thanks, Remus." "Gonna tell him?" She wrinkled her freckled nose. "Nah, want to think about it a bit more first." "Just gonna stare at him riding his broom for hours instead?" She shoved him, laughing. "If I want to. He's easy on the eye, what can I say?" She poked out her tongue and returned to gawping. Remus smiled and dredged up the only real piece of advice he had. "Don't give it too long. It gets harder the longer you wait." Lily looked at him curiously, and Remus instantly regretted saying anything. "Oh, yeah," she said. You seem very wise in the ways of love all of a sudden. Nah, he laughed, he hoped convincingly. I just read lots. I could have given you all of my heart, but there's someone who's torn it apart, and he's taken nearly all that I've got. But if you want, I'll try to love again.
Bravo. Bravo.
Black, next time you decide to break someone's heart, can you do it outside the exam period? Lily groaned as Sirius entered the common room, and every radio, turntable, and gramophone within 20 meters began blaring P.P. Arnold's tragedy-stricken voice. Baby, I'll try to love again, but I know the first cut is the deepest.
You're starting to know some of the songs now.
I actually do know this song, but I totally didn't sing it how it's supposed to go.
No, you didn't.
All I have is the remake song stuck in my head. The remake version. What do you want me to do about it? Sirius raged, storming out about the room, trying to mute every speaker in sight. It had been a plain, drawn-out melodrama, but Emmeline and Sirius had finally split. And apparently nobody treated Emmeline Vance like that. So in retaliation, she'd placed a very advanced hex on him, which meant that every time he entered a room, a breakup song began to play. This was usually limited to music players, but occasionally, when there was nothing else about, the portraits had begun to burst into song too. Just apologize to her and get the bloody spell lifted, Lily replied. 'Cause when it comes to being lucky, he's cursed. And when it comes to loving me, he's worst. I've got nothing to apologize for, he spat back forcefully. Silencio! 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 The music finally stopped. Who knew for how long? Remus didn't get involved. He could only make it worse, and Sirius had been in a foul mood all week. Gotta give it to the girl, Mary said. She's creative. She was straddling Marlene, who lay on her front and on the rug, Mary plaiting her long blonde hair. Every time she got to the end, she would unravel it, comb it out gently, and begin again. Sometimes Remus didn't think he'd ever understand girls. Still, Marlene, who usually hated being fussed over, seemed to be quite enjoying it. She looked very peaceful. Oh yeah, go on, take her side, you lot. Bloody women. Sirius threw himself into an armchair opposite Lily and slouched into it, glaring at the fire. Anyone got a fag? Remus did, but he didn't say anything. Not surprised she dumped you, Mary grinned. You're a miserable git these days. I'm well shot of you. She gave him a joking wink, and his frown diminished. You love me, really, he muttered. Let's talk about something else, Mary said from the floor. Not exams or bloody relationships. Potter, what's going on with this camping trip? All sorted. You lot just need to show up, James grinned. With your tents, obviously. Dad says I can borrow the family ones as long as I take care of them, Lily said. 2 two-sleepers. Cozy, Sirius said sarcastically. With 7 of us going. 8, Peter piped up. James said I could bring Dorcas. Remus groaned inwardly at that. Not that he didn't like Dorcas. Dorcas was fine, but he'd been looking forward to a summer holiday with all of his closest friends, not tag-alongs. Thank goodness Mary wasn't bringing her latest boyfriend, though with Mary the turnover was too fast to make any kind of long-term plans. Well, I was rather hoping that you boys would bring your own tent, actually, Lily replied, giving Sirius a frosty look. Mum said in her last letter there's a muggle camping supply shop in our village, James said quickly, ever the peacemaker. So we'll go get ours as soon as we're home. You're definitely coming to stay this summer, right, Moody? Mooney? Is that still okay? Remus asked anxiously. He still didn't have a plan B. Maybe James would let him keep one of the tents afterward. Ugh, what a depressing thought. Of course, James grinned magnanimously, rubbing his hands together. This summer is going to be great. How are we going to get to Cornwall? Marlene asked. Apparating? If we've all passed, yeah. They looked at Peter guiltily. He'd still not quite managed to get anywhere without splinching himself yet. I'm really trying, he said, embarrassed. I could get the night bus. It'll be fine, James said cheerily. I promise. Best summer ever. Mother, you had me, but I never had you. I wanted you. You didn't want me. Friday, 24th of June, 1977. And really, Remus thought to himself as he left his last exam of the term, Care of Magical Creatures written, thank goodness for James' eternal optimism. It was one of the only things that kept any of them going these days. Exams were the same as they ever had been. Easier, maybe, at least when it came to practical magic. Fortunately, no one expected a Patronus this year. There was something reassuring about a timetable, though, and deadlines and timed exercises. It all made good common sense and didn't encourage too much independent thought. Remus was always grateful for an opportunity to switch off his brain, especially as he'd set himself a very personal deadline of his own. Once his final exam was over, and today was the day, he would open the shoebox. It had been sitting under his bed for the better part of 3 months now. He'd not so much as glanced at it. Whatever was in it would be disruptive, he knew that. Even if it was nothing more than some boring notes from Matron, old schoolwork or something, he knew that just thinking about the whole St. Edmund's problem was going to drag him down eventually. He told himself that it was very sensible and mature. He needed a clear head for exams. But it was late June now, and he had nothing left to do. Of course, there was always something to do. NEWTs would begin in earnest next year. He ought to get a head start. There was talk about an end-of-the-year party, and he could start preparing for that. He really ought to catch up on his reading for Madame Pomfrey's healing classes, too. He was woefully behind on bruises. He ate lunch first. Unpleasant experiences were generally better faced on a full stomach. There were exams scheduled that afternoon for Muggle Studies and Divination, both of which James and Sirius were taking. Moony, what are hot air balloons for? I still don't get it, James pleaded, looking very frazzled. You're fine, Lily said, pouring herself some pumpkin juice. Muggle Studies should be easy for you after Advanced Transfiguration. Wow, thanks, Evans, James beamed. Everyone looked at Lily, who blushed and returned to her food. I've still never seen anything in a crystal ball, Peter sighed deeply. Tell her you see a Grim, Sirius said cheerfully. That's what I'm doing. Why a Grim? I just have a feeling she might actually see one tomorrow at about 2 o'clock, Sirius smirked. James and Peter began to laugh, much to the girls' confusion. Remus loitered outside the great hall for as long as he could with his friends, until they all had to go in for the exam. Putting it off a few minutes wouldn't hurt, but eventually it was time to face the music. After all, the sooner he did it, the longer he'd have by himself to actually process it. Even if it was nothing, even if he only had to cope with another disappointment. He had a good book on hand and full access to Sirius's record collection, so the afternoon didn't have to be totally unpleasant. He drew the curtains round his bed, even though he was alone in the dorm room. He blew the dust from the cardboard lid, and it made him cough. Scourgify, he choked, aiming his wand at his sheets to rid them of the nasty grey matter, now going back. As quickly as ripping off a plaster, he lifted the lid. At first, it all looked completely harmless. Everything inside was flat. Papers, presumably sorted into neat brown envelopes of various sizes, varying ages. His admission papers to St. Edmund's. Remus John Lupin, 5 years 3 months. Arrival date, 12/7/1965. Reports written by his primary school teachers. All of the marks were poor. Shows very little aptitude for academia, one read. Incapable of learning. May suit unskilled work. Fucking bitches. His birth certificate. It was a Muggle one. He supposed his mother had not been admitted to St. Mungo's. Remus learned he'd been born at home in Bristol, of all places. His mother's name was Hope, and his father was listed as unemployed. Of all this, Remus worked through with impassive patience, like an archivist sifting through documents related to some ancient history, not his own life. But then he came to the photographs. They were black and white, Muggle, unmoving. one of a chubby baby dressed in some white knitted affair with buttons shaped like bunny rabbits. Remus supposed it was him. There was nothing written on the back, only the stamp from Boots. There was another, which would have been taken when he arrived at St. Edmund's. In it he was able to recognize some features. The dark, cautious stare, the mouth set in a determined grimace. He was looking up, at whoever was taking the photo, presumably, and he looked frightened. The last picture was the worst. It was of a family he didn't remember. There was Lyle, tall and slim and gangly, tousled hair and small wire-framed spectacles. He was smiling. Remus never pictured him smiling. Sitting in a floral armchair beside him was a small, very young-looking woman. She had immaculate platinum blonde hair and a proper 60s beehive, and she was wearing a neat shirtwaister which showed off her pretty figure. Her nose was a bit long and beakish, but she had a nice face. On her lap was a little boy, giggling, his face all creased up with joy. She was looking at him. Her mouth was open. What had she been saying? Remus put it down, feeling lightheaded.
Bless you.
He realized he'd been holding his breath for a long time and exhaled. There was one envelope left. The handwriting on it was not sealed. The handwriting on it was not Matron's. It hadn't been sealed, though, so maybe she'd read it before. Maybe that's why she didn't give it to him. Steeling himself once more, Remus pulled out a letter, folded neatly in thirds. It was written on pretty notepaper with a floral design on the borders. The handwriting was pretty too. My darling boy, I know I have no right to leave you this letter. It may be a good few years before you receive it, if you receive it at all. I hope that you do, and I hope that when you do, you'll be owed enough. Still, I don't expect forgiveness. I can't think what to tell you. How can I explain? You were my beautiful, precious boy from the moment you were born. No, from the moment I felt you move inside me. Your father and I loved each other very much, and having you tripled our happiness 1,000 times over. You were loved, my little Remus. I pray you haven't forgotten it. But you're very young, and they tell me that sometimes forgetting is kindness. When the accident happened, I promised you I would do everything I could to make it right again. I had some stupid idea that just loving you would be enough. Then when Lyle left us both, I tried for you. I swear I tried. But I was never a very clever girl, and never as strong or as practical as your father. You needed so much, and I had so little. I had no family once I married him, you see. They told me to make a choice. My parents didn't approve, and even after he'd gone, I knew they wouldn't approve of you. I can't say how sorry I am to let you go. In my heart, I know it's the safest thing and the best for you in the end. And I know you will never forgive me, and I know I will always long to see you again. I pray that when that time comes, I shall not be difficult for you to find. All my love, Hope Jenkins. Remus put the letter back in the envelope and closed the box. He threw the box under the bed. He climbed underneath his heavy covers and curled up small like he used to at St. Edmund's. He felt as if a hole had been opened up inside him, a big, gaping emptiness. Tears picked his eyes, and because he was alone, he let them come. Saturday, 2nd of July, 1977. He'd never given his mother much thought, at least not since he'd been at Hogwarts, which seemed so full of Lyle and all his achievements and mistakes. Obviously, it would have been better to have a mother than not, but he wasn't sure what he'd been missing all the same. Matron hadn't been very maternal, but she wasn't paid to love the boys she looked after. This window into Hope's life, into his own life, was terrifying to Remus, and he wished he'd never read the stupid letter. Still, he read it more than once. He read it every night for the rest of term, as if reading the word loved could make him feel it. It couldn't. The Marauders stayed an extra 2 days at Hogwarts for Remus's sake. The first full moon of the summer fell on the 1st of July, and it was more convenient, not to mention safer for the Potters, if Remus went into the Shrieking Shack. Well, he was supposed to go into the Shrieking Shack, but of course Wormtail, Padfoot and Prongs had other ideas. Free of exams and excited about the summer, they had one of the best full moon nights they had in ages. Still, Madame Pomfrey insisted on the usual course of aftercare and knocked Remus out with a strong sleeping draught to ensure he rested through the next morning. "Travelling by flu powder can make you queasy at the best of times," she cautioned. "Better safe than sorry." They were due to travel that evening, using the fireplace in McGonagall's office. Remus woke up just after lunch and found he was not alone. "Hiya, Moony," Sirius said softly, sitting in the chair by his bed. His eyes were dark. He looked as if he'd been dozing too. "Hiya," Remus echoed, sitting up, stretching. "You ought to be in bed. You look knackered." "Shut up. I look gorgeous," Sirius replied, yawning. "Anyway, James is tearing the bedroom apart trying to pack. I couldn't get any sleep. Hungry?" "Always." "Good. I'm supposed to make sure you eat." He motioned to a plate sitting on the bedside table, loaded with fruit and sandwiches. Remus picked up an apple and bit into it, ravenous. Neither of them said much for a while, but Sirius ate a few grapes. Since March, they'd practiced the art of making small talk with as little detail or eye contact as possible. You could call it friendship if you didn't know what had come before. "I feel a bit bad," Sirius said out of the blue, looking at his shoelaces. "I feel a bit bad about the way I spoke to you a while ago. About your friend, Christopher?" "Yeah." Remus finished his apple core, down to the stem, which he put down, reaching for a sandwich next, cheese and pickle. "You were a bit rude, but it's okay. I haven't thought about it much." "Oh, that's good." Sirius nodded. He looked at Remus, then quickly diverted his gaze out the window. I thought maybe he might be the reason you decided to stop." Remus didn't need to ask what he meant. Sirius was being very clear. "No," Remus said, choosing his words carefully. "It wasn't to do with him. I told you, he's my friend, that's all." Sirius nodded bravely. "Yeah, I believe you. I do." He still didn't understand, Remus realized sadly. He still didn't know why they just couldn't carry on the way they were. Stupid, beautiful, impossible boy. "Look, Sirius," he said, still cautious. I've had a bit of a shit year, to be honest. Maybe I'm having a shit life, I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff going on at the moment that I really can't control. So the way I see it, if something's making me miserable that I can control, then... Oh, right. I get it. Yeah? I would never want to make you miserable, Moony. That's not what I meant, Remus thought. That's not what I wanted to say. But he didn't have the energy for more, didn't have the resources. It would have to do, at least until everything stopped being so raw. "Are those voices I hear?" Madame Pomfrey came bustling round the hospital curtain, merry and rose-cheeked. "Well, you're looking much better. Looking forward to the summer, boys."
Well, there it is. The camping trip. You mentioned it.
Yep.
And there it is.
Yep.
No wonder it's going to be 5 chapters.
Yeah, because the next chapter is Summer, Part 1, 1977.
We're going to
Oh,
learn a lot.
Melanie. Thank you. Melanie loves how I do the songs. I'm making it up as I go. Why not?
It's a remix. That's all.
Oh, Marcelo. We love you too. So, Remus just told Sirius that he makes him miserable.
Yep.
Whoops. Yeah,
Big
next
whoopsie.
chapter is Summer 1977, Part 1.
I mean, it's not... I guess, yeah, that is probably the worst thing they've said to each other. So, Remus. But, I mean, hey, Remus is going through a lot right now. He just got that note from his mother and all the notes about how he'll never be able to learn anything. He's dumb. Stupid. Maybe if someone actually taught him how to read.
Right. Realize that, like, he had dyslexia or something.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
But,
yeah.
I think we came to the conclusion that he just didn't know how to read.
Yeah.
Didn't give him the opportunity. Because I think he doesn't use the spell anymore at some point. At least
Yeah.
they don't mention it.
No. I think at a certain point he finally just learns how to do it. We don't have time to read the next chapter, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the only issue.
It's getting late and we both have to work tomorrow.
Yes, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And
But she just said it completes a lot of things you said earlier. So I think the next chapter reading is going to be a whole lot of
bomb dropping.
yeah.
So maybe it's better we save that for next.
We'll save it for next time. But
Because I have a feeling after we read the next chapter, it's going to be hard not to read the next chapter.
well, yeah,
And
because after summer it's 7th year and war.
Yeah, see?
Also, real quick, Lily has admitted she likes James.
Yep.
She's
I forgot that happened this chapter.
she just finally admits like, "Oh,
I've liked him
finally.
for a little while now.
yeah."
So it's going to happen. I guess
I like that whatever it was that made their feelings develop for each other, it happened off page.
Yeah.
Like whatever it was that Lily started to see in him, it happened off page. She didn't try to the author didn't try to
Well, that's one of those things like Snape's worst memory. Like how he
yeah,
avoided
yeah,
that. Like,
yeah. You're
that's
not
something
gonna
you just don't touch.
yeah. I appreciated that that's how she wrote it. Like that's how she wrote it.
No, not next Thursday. We're going to be streaming Saturday, actually.
When?
Whenever you get out. Because your hours changed.
We are getting somebody this Saturday.
Oh. Oh, shoot. I forgot. All right. Yes. Next Thursday.
Yeah. Because it's
I
Mother's
forgot.
Day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, it'll be next Thursday that we will continue the story.
It's my bad.
Forgot about Mother's Day again, did you?
God, no, I did not.
Yeah, I think I would agree, Ada. I think it started when they were both prefects.
Yeah.
And they got to know each other better. And we don't see it, so
and
we
James
just
was able to be alone with Lily and didn't have to be his normal show-off self. And Lily got to know the real James Potter.
right, like who he really is as a
Yeah.
person. Yeah. And throughout the story, like we hear Remus constantly saying he's got a good heart, he's a good person,
Yeah.
he's this and that, and Lily finally has the chance to see it, and I just appreciate that it all happens off page.
Yeah.
And that all we get is just Lily being
James
like,
really isn't in the story all that much.
no, he's not. Neither is Peter, really.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out with the betrayal.
Yeah. Well, slowly they've been kind of shunning Peter. So I see how Peter's going to end up.
Gravitate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen next.
He's kind of the low man on the totem pole at this point.
He has been the whole time, but
Yeah.
I think it's just getting worse, and I think he's figuring it out.
Oh, there's an All the Young Dudes serious perspective. That would be interesting.
Oh my god.
A fanfic about a fanfic.
Right?
We're getting into Inception territory.
Yeah, that's a little wild. Oh, but that being said, I think we got to call it.
Yeah, it's that time.
It's that time.
Gotta go to Real Jobs tomorrow.
Got to go to Real Jobs tomorrow. Someday this could be our real job. We'd like it to be our real job.
But on that note, thank you all for joining us. Had a
Yes.
great time. And we will see you next Thursday.
Yep, see you next Thursday.